Halloween Ends, full spoiler review. Let's get into it. What's up, y'all? It's your boy, Seth Grimes, back here with another review. This time, we're going to be diving into a full spoiler review for Halloween Ends. So if you have not seen the movie or you haven't been on the internet in the past week, which is highly unlikely, turn away now, go watch the movie, then come back. You back? All right, come on, check it out. Before we do, if I could bug you to please like, follow, and subscribe at Seth Grimes Media on TikTok, Facebook, or Twitter if you're on any of those. And hit the subscribe button down below while you're watching. If at any point it occurs to you that, hey, I like this chubby bearded fellow, and I'd like to hear more of what he has to say. I like the cut of his jib. I want to go ahead and hit the subscribe button right down below. With all that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into this movie because holy shit, is the internet upset about Halloween Ends. I don't know why. I don't understand. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. No, I wasn't a huge fan of it, but it's not because of what everybody else is pissed off about. It's more for me in the execution of it. I don't necessarily have a problem that they took a chance and they tried some new things here. I just think they went about it the wrong way and it might not have been the right place for it. So let's just kind of start from the beginning here. Forgive me if I am a little bit all over the place because I'm going off of memory. I don't have any notes in front of me or anything like that. I'll be hitting some of the high spots and that kind of thing. And just, I kind of want to give my overall thoughts on everything as I go. Starting right with the beginning, like, I thought I was, they had my attention right off the bat. Like, I wasn't bored or like, what am I watching? Or, oh, I'm so confused. It was fascinating. It's like, okay, we got this kid babysitting. It was reminiscent of Halloween 2018, where we had that babysitter scene, and just babysitting in general is an overall kind of trope of the Halloween series. So it fits right in, and I was kind of glad to see that for that reason. We were introduced to Corey and this little brat, this fucking snot-nosed little brat that he was babysitting, little cunt. I would have kicked his ass off the top too. When I was the way that they had this set designed with the stairs that wrapped, first of all, those are fantastic. But even long before the kid took the bump off the top, I was looking at it and I was like, those are really steep stairs. How do they haul a bed up there? How do they haul a couch up there? What if somebody fell backwards while they were moving a fucking dresser up the stairs? What if somebody fell off the top? How sturdy are those railings? What if the kids are running around and they bump into it and they just, a nail's loose and they fucking fall? Like, all of these things were going through my mind. So the staircase itself as a set piece was building dread for me. And I thought that was kind of cool. Like, I didn't necessarily think there was going to be a fall, but I was uneasy just with the look of it and the height of it. And yeah, so that was cool. The kid, the babysitter locked in the closet was reminiscent to me of the remake of the Amityville Horror, which I actually really like. The one with Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool. Mr. Deadpool himself, Ryan Reynolds, pretend to be scary in Amityville Horror Remake, which was fantastic. I actually liked it a lot. Sue me, come at me in the comments, bro. But they trapped the babysitter in the closet there, and it was kind of reminiscent of that, in my opinion. So that was kind of fun. And then he's locked in and he's kicking against the door, and I did not, as much dread as I had with the staircase, I did not picture what happened next was actually going to happen. I thought, and they set you up to believe because the door was open and you heard the noises and the knife was missing that Michael had entered this home. But when that kid takes the bump off and they show it, he just takes a full, I can't whistle, but it would sound like a, and then splat. and just it was so cringy. And then the Halloween 3 font. We're gonna be here for a little bit, so you're just gonna have to deal with me beveraging from time to time. It's important to stay hydrated. We got the Halloween 3 font, which uh ended up being a bit of foreshadowing, wasn't it? Because it was like leading us to, Halloween 3 was such a deviation from the original first two of the series, and it was the third in a trilogy. This being the third in the Halloween made, that was kind of what I was thinking right off the bat, was it just because it was the third one. They were definitely foreshadowing that they were going to go off the beaten path with this one. So that was kind of fun. And then we just end up following this Corey motherfucker. Laurie was much better in this movie, but to me, it was ass back. So in Halloween 2018, she's like fucking Sarah Connor, right? Like she's all locked and loaded. She's got a fucking full armory downstairs and all that. You know what I mean? She's got this fortress, this compound on like a ranch with land and spotlights and shit. And this is 40 years after the fact. Remember, Halloween 2 never happened, so she wasn't even pursued to the hospital. And Halloween fucking H2O and Resurrection, none of that happened. Jamie Lee Curtis was in Halloween 1 as far as this movie is concerned, and that's it. So Myers fucking chased her on Halloween, broke in her house, stabbed her arm, tried to kill her, disappeared off into the wilderness, and was eventually arrested later that night, I guess, is what they tell in Halloween Kills, right? So for 40 years, this guy, and you built a compound, I just knew he would escape. But then in the very next movie, well, not the very next, because they did Halloween Kills and she was in the hospital the whole time and had a little crush, and then that was a whole different thing. But then in Halloween Ends, she's just chill as can be. She's just fucking motherfucking Teresa all of a sudden. She's just baking shit. She's just a little housewife with no husband, just just being a little Nancy, you know what I mean? No disrespect to the previous Nancy that would have died, her friend Nancy, but you get what I'm saying. Being a mom. But it's totally ass backwards, because if she was so Sarah Connor after 40 years still, just after a one night of attack, and he was locked in prison. This time after Halloween Kills, there was no body, there was no nothing saying that he died. He was just gone. He was just on the loose for 4 years. Only 4 years compared to 40. And now she's just chill as can be. It doesn't make sense. The way I would have written it, had they planned this shit from the beginning, because Halloween 2018, as it was, like as a standalone, it made sense if you wanted to go to Sarah Connor route. Fine. Okay. I'm okay with that. But if you're going to do all this and now you're going to portray Laurie Strode as a fucking housewife, then you should have did that. She should have been relaxed after 40 years. He's been in prison. She's moved on. She's baking pies. She's celebrating Halloween again. She's doing the whole thing. Like, to me, that's a better way to go for 2018 if you were going to do the trilogy. Then after Kills, she becomes Sarah Connor. But within that 4 years, she's built herself a fortress instead of a nice little home in the suburbs. It's back ass words, but I digress. With that said, I loved what they did with Laurie Strode here. She was fantastic. She was exactly, because I was fine. Like, I bought into the Sarah Connor, Laurie Strode, and even the 20 Halloween H2O Laurie Strode was a little bit on edge, too much for me after 20 years. So after 40, it's really a bit much. I would have preferred to see this Laurie Strode all along, one that has attempted to move past all this, even if she hasn't fully. Maybe she's put it all behind her, but she sees I think she sees like a reflection sometimes, like she did in H2O, something like that. And she drops the pie and she's like, whoo, drops the pie, and she's startled, but she pulls herself together because she's trying to move on, and she's carving pumpkins again, and she's doing all. So I liked, for the most part, I really liked Laurie Strode in this. I thought she was just an absolute peach. Probably the best portrayal of Laurie Strode as a character ever, period. because even in the first movie, she was just kind of a plain final girl. She's one of the best final girls to ever do it, but she really is kind of a personality. Like you only get to meet her for we learn that she's kind of a square. She's kind of dull and boring, and her friends are a little bit more wild, and they're always trying to push her, and she got a crush on a boy. And that's about it. We know she's a goody two shoes. That's it. We don't know a lot about her. But now, after all these years, it's like I feel like she's honed in on this, and just to me, this was the best portrayal of a Laurie Strode on film. I forget the name of her granddaughter already, and you're just gonna have to forgive me because my brain has smoked too much weed, so it's just is what it is. And I forgot her name. um Hold on, we'll do a video edit. I'm gonna Allison. Her fucking name is Allison. That's what I said all along. Jesus, why you question me on this stuff? Allison, the granddaughter, I liked her a lot too. Actually, I thought she was probably the best I've ever seen her in any of the three films. She was a stupid teenager in 2018. She was still playing a stupid teenager in Halloween Kills, but looked much more like an adult by then. Now she's kind of, now that this has been futurized a little bit, 4 years, 5 years later, now, I feel like she fits the role more. She's more than a stupid teen. She's got layers. I like that she's the dark girl, mostly because I kind of got a crush on those kind of girls, like the goth girls, and then just like the dreary types. You know what I mean? Like I want to make them smile. But no, I liked her character. That was creepy as shit. I like. I like her character. I like that she's got that rain cloud over her head and she's kind of gloomy, and she ends up meeting that boy and he's kind of gloomy, and then she has interest in him because she understands his type and she doesn't like anybody else in town, and nobody else in town understands her, you know what I mean? So she feels like she can connect with this guy. This guy being Corey, our new favorite character, right? Corey. That's what you wanted to see. You came to see the Corey movie, right? That's what most people are pissed off about. I'm not so much pissed off about that, but I'll explain a little bit later. Corey, I really liked this character too. I thought overall he was very well done, well acted, well portrayed. I mean, there's some shitty writing in this movie. And if I remember everything, I'll cover it as we go along here. But in general, like Corey was a pretty decent character. I think one of the major complaints, and something that I would say as well, is it would have been nice to have been introduced to this guy at least one movie earlier. In Kills, perhaps, would have been the best route to go, or maybe a different route, which I'll get to a little bit later with Corey. This movie starts to kind of follow Corey and Allison. Corey is an outcast in town because Corey is the babysitter who kicked the kid off the fucking stairs. And even it's funny because when he did it, he even said, "I'm gonna kill you." And like the kid's mom heard him say that. And it's like, how did he even get off in court, dude? How did this kid not go to prison, right? I mean, I don't know. There must have been some kind of maybe the footprints on the inside of the door. Who knows? But the town hates him because they still think he's a murderer. And the idea is because Michael Myers is gone, this town needs a boogeyman still. It needs somebody to hate. So now it hates Corey. The town hates Laurie to a certain extent. They do show that. Somebody accosted her at the grocery store when she was having a good day, just got done flirting with her man candy, and she gets chewed out by an angry mama out in the parking lot because of something that happened fucking, back in Halloween Kills or whatever. The chick that got stabbed in the neck with the light tube, she's still alive, believe it or not. Though, you could look up Nick Gage versus David Arquette death match. Yes, that David Arquette from Scream, and watch David Arquette get stabbed in the neck with a light tube, and he's still alive. So I digress. It's possible. But, you know, this town needs a boogeyman, and Corey is their biggest boogeyman right now. And Corey, poor Corey, poor Corey is being bullied by the band, the high school band. And is Corey even in high school? I thought Corey graduated. Didn't Corey graduate or maybe dropped out? Isn't he older than high school age? I believe he's not a high schooler because he's dating Allison, but yet the high school band kids are bullying him. They are the town rich kids. I don't know why they chose band. It must be some sort of inside rib by the writers. You know, maybe they had a bully in high school that was in band or something. It was like, I'll get these fuckers one day. But I mean, you could have made them like the wrestlers or the football players or something like that, right? Because that seems to fit the mold better. The jocular, leather jacket wearing, I got rich dad and I think I own this town type kid. That just fits the football player, I guess, more, or the wrestler, not the fucking band geek. You know what I mean? These people stick flutes in their pussies. They don't pick on kids 3, 4, 5 years older than them that murdered people in their town. But hey, that happens in this movie. So the writing is a little meh at times, like that. Like for all the good that they do and all the things that they thought out, they put thought into, there's a lot that seems like they put no thought into at all. So Corey and Allison end up meeting up. I believe Laurie actually matched them up together, played a little high. This is my granddaughter, and they like fell in love instantly, basically, or at least Allison did. Allison was smitten with Corey. Allison just sniffed out his bad boy. I murdered a little kid charm and just wanted it. And she basically threw herself at him. I mean, she was, you know, almost desperate. You know, she was not, I don't want to say desperate. She was just very like, you're mine now. She wasn't going to give him the option. She was going to be persistent, you know? So they started hanging out and like riding around on motorcycles and shit. And she gets her car looked at his like, his junkyard. He works at a junkyard, similar to like Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, where the dog pisses on the hole and Freddy comes back to life. I've heard people compare this to Christine, say that this is straight out of Christine, that there's a kid that works at a junkyard, maybe there. That's where the car is. And he slowly becomes like evil because the town hates him, something to that effect, which was a John Carpenter movie. In fact, I'm adding it to my Halloween watch. I've been watching a lot of new scary movies. I made it a point. I'm trying to do as much of the 31 on 31 as I can, and I'm trying to do fresh and new stuff. So I'm going to check that out as well. But you notice that we haven't seen a lot of Michael yet in this whole thing. And that's because Michael is dead as fuck, basically. He's on his last legs, like a homeless ass man, just living in a sewer drain, like a goddamn Ninja Turtle, like a goddamn homeless bum, like Halloween 2, like the Rob Zombie Halloween 2, like just being a fucking scrub, right? And apparently he's lost all of his power. He's just a weak, frail bastard. And this kid, I don't remember the exact mechanics of it, but at some point, this Corey bastard separates from Allison. You know, he's hanging out with her on and off. And he ends up, you know, getting into it with these bullies again. And then they follow him. And they end up, he gets into like an actual fisticuffs confrontation with them. And he gets like thrown off this overpass by one of the bullies, and he's like, what? He was an accident, right? That's what I saw. Which to me was like an homage to I Know What You Did Last Summer. And there's a lot of that, and some of it might just be me reading too deep into stuff, like earlier with the Amityville Horror remake reference, and then like there's the Christine stuff, and just all of that. Like this was clear, like, you know, when I Know What You Did Last Summer, where they, you know, tries to convince all the friends that clearly saw this guy get murdered that no, it was an accident. We didn't see nothing. Not that that's the same way it played out, but it was just shades of that. You know what I mean? So that's what I got out of that. But anyway, the kid Corey ends up under the overpass, and he's having a bad fucking day at this point. You know, he just got his ass beat bad. He's all bloodied and bruised a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And now he's down in this overpass, and he ends up. I don't know if it's the homeless bum that like scares him into the tunnel or he just crawls into this fucking tunnel, but he goes into the fucking dwelling where Michael Myers is hiding out. And Michael Myers attempts to kill this man, but there's some sort of like, I don't know. He looks in his eyes and recognizes the evil that's brewing inside of him. Maybe, perhaps. I don't fucking know. It's unclear. They leave it up to interpretation. But that's kind of what I got out of it was that Michael saw something in him. Either he saw the same evil that he sees in himself or that he knows from however he got it. You know, he just, real recognizes real, right? You know what I'm saying? So that's what I got out of it. And he lets him go. And now, either some people seem to be of the opinion that Michael decided to use Corey to feed him more bodies to get strength, as they kind of alluded to in Halloween Kills, that the more Michael kills, the more he transcends. You know, the more he just becomes pure evil, the stronger he gets, the more he can come back to life. You know what I mean? Which is never really been spelled out in the Halloween series, but it's an interesting take, and it's not a bad take. Michael has always been thought of as just a normal man with some sort of supernatural abilities, right? Whatever evil is possessing Michael, even from the very first movie, because he was shot. That's what they tried to leave you with. I shot him 6 times. Like, they're trying to drive home the point that we thought this was a man, but this is pure evil. But how does that? What are the mechanics of that? How does that actually work? And if Michael's not using his pure evil so much, he's sleeping in the bum tunnel and stuff. Maybe he starts to weaken and becomes his frail ass old man again. And maybe that evil's looking to pass on to somebody else. Maybe it's looking to jump ship like Charles Lee Ray is looking to upgrade from a doll to a real human boy. You know what I'm saying? So that could be the case as well. Maybe Michael's trying to use Corey, or maybe he's scared of Corey. Maybe he saw something in Corey that he saw Corey was him, but younger, faster, stronger. And that's something that, later on, there's a scene where they're wrestling. Corey goes back and he basically wants to like take over the mantle. And I told you I'm gonna jump around a little bit. It's fine. Just fucking sit back and relax. You're good. So Corey wants to take over the mantle of Michael Myers. He goes back into that cave out because he's been out. Like they Myers sees something in him that first time, and then they go like tag teaming, right? They go out and they're like, Corey like has this other stupid mask that he got when he was shopping with Allison, and he like ends up following home a couple people he didn't like to try to kill them, maybe because maybe he picked up a little something from Michael, right? And then Michael either follows him or they go together one way or another. I'm not sure. They both end up at this doctor's house, and where the doctor and the slutty chick that he's banging that works at his office with Allison, Corey's going to kill these people. So I don't know if Michael went along with to teach him, to show him, to help him, or if Michael followed him there to, use Corey to lead him to more bodies. I'm not sure. That's again either left up to interpretation, or maybe I just, went to go get popcorn during that part or something. I don't fucking know. Now, I don't remember if Corey killed the girl first, or if he was just, maybe she was second, or he tried to kill the doctor first. All I know is Michael kind of comes in by surprise and does the whole remake of the original Halloween where he basically he stabs the doctor to the door, doesn't he? Maybe it's the chick. It's getting blurry to me now. I gotta watch it again. One of them gets stabbed to the fucking door though. The other one gets killed too. Don't remember how. Sorry, don't remember the kills. What do you want from me? Watch the fucking kill count, bitch. Um, so at this point, the Corey feels like he wants to challenge the throne, and this is where I was going. Corey wants to jump in and he wants to take the mask from Michael. And there was a couple cheesy lines during this whole murder scene here where Corey's like, "Show me, teach me how," So it's really dumb. Like I didn't like that. It was some of that carryover cheesiness from Halloween Kills which was the worst, probably the worst dialogue in any of the entire and including Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween, the worst dialogue in any of the Halloween movies. So there's some bad stuff there. But basically, Michael ends up back at his cave, and Corey goes in there to challenge him. Tries to fight him. Michael's weak. He can't fight off Corey. So a lot of people were really pissed off at this because Corey wants the mask. He wants to be Michael now. He's ready for it. Fuck you. My turn. My time. Old lion, young lion. Here we go. People thought, oh, how does Michael fucking Myers lose to some Corey kid physically, get his ass kicked? Yes, but you're not looking at it the right way. Because in my interpretation of this, Michael is one, very weak and drained. That's why he's basically dead, laying in a fucking bum tunnel, right? Because he's weak. He's an old frail man. He's back to like his normal age with all the wear and tear his body's gone through and probably malnourishment and everything else. Like he's a weak motherfucker. He barely has it anymore. He's lost his step. That's what they've portrayed with this Michael Myers. Even though just 4 or 5 years ago he was murdering an entire town all in one fucking scene, just going in circles and just killing them all. That beat town scene with the mob. Stupid as shit. And Halloween Kills. Suddenly he's so weak he can barely stand. So with that said, I don't know that a near 70-year-old or 70-year-old man that's been through that kind of trauma could fight off a 21, 22-year-old kid anyway. Like just mano. I don't think he would be able to. He'd have a tough ass time doing it. Just assuming that Michael lost all of his supernatural strength and Corey had none. Corey could probably possibly overpower Michael Myers. You know what I mean? Like it happens all the time. Punk ass kids rob old men, fucking trip them, beat them down, steal their fucking lunch money. Happens all the time. Beat them with their cane, their walker, all of it. It happens. So just that in itself is plausible. But if the evil has started to transfer or jumped ship, or maybe there's two evils, or evil meets evil, or evil moved from Michael to Corey, Corey could absolutely overpop. Again, Michael Myers was 21 when he escaped on Halloween night, right? He could have beat the shit out of Dr. Loomis. Now, granted, Dr. Loomis is not Michael Myers, but you get my point. See that? There was like a little. I think Corey could overpower Michael basically in every circumstance other than Michael is supernatural, full powered, evil Michael Myers from Halloween Kills, and Corey is just some punk kid that got beat up by band kids from high school, right? Right? That's what you think. That's why you're mad. You're wrong. I'm right. That's the way it happened. So Corey now is donning the mask. He is Michael Myers for all intents and purposes. He's not. It's like fucking what's a Roy in Friday the 13th part 5. He's just wearing Jason's mask. This is Corey, which is again could be taken, maybe I'm reading too much in, but could be taken as an homage to Friday the 13th 5, because this movie with its homage to Halloween 3, if it was Friday the 13th 5, could be in a way an homage to like maligned horror movies that were misunderstood for their time, or horror movies in the franchises that took a chance. They did something outside of the box. It could be some things that the writers were trying to pay attention to as well, which is really fun to think about. I love that. So, Michael, this is where shit gets the most brutal. And I know I'm missing stuff and I'm skipping around, but that's fine. We're going a little long here anyway. He goes on his Michael Myers kill path. And this is the closest we get to like Halloween kills, Michael Myers, like the brutality, the violence, the viciousness. When Corey went full Myers, there was a scene back at the junkyard where he was very Michael Myers-esque. He was positioning bodies to lure people in. He was brutal. The blowtorch on that fucking kid's face, dude. Oh my God. I just recently saw Terrifier 2, and it was Terrifier 2-esque. Now they blurred it, which Terrifier 2 wouldn't do. Terrifier wouldn't do that, but it was a very excessively brutal kill. But they kept it classy because they blurred it, and it left more to the imagination because you couldn't see. They would have did a good job with the effects anyway, but you didn't have to prosthetic it and CGI it, and you probably would have got like an X rating for melting somebody's face with a blowtorch anyway. So it was a really good move. I really liked that. Then you get the stomp on the face when the girl's like squished underneath the cage, and it was really cool because she's like, he's dead or whatever, and she's like, so are you? And he's like, huh? And then he gets yoinked. I forgot what happened to him, but he got it good. Did he get shot? He might have got shot, but I don't remember exactly what happened to him. But then she gets her face stomped. She's trapped under this like the gate, right? Because it got plowed through. She's laying underneath it, and then he just stomps on it. And now Corey has the supernatural strength. I defy you to tell me any different. Corey has they don't define it, which is another thing I just love about this movie. It takes the time, like it really like it explores these things. Like I'm intrigued by these things. They did them in the wrong way, which I'll get to it at the end here. But I love that they took the chance and they were exploring that evil could transfer from Myers to Corey. Did it transfer? Is there more than one evil? Was he born with it? Was it caused by the town? All of these things come into play. It's so fantastic. I really do appreciate that. He's spinning records. He gets his fucking tongue fucking cut right off, dude. His face is like busted open. His tongue's like, yeah. And he just cuts that shit. I think he's with scissors, didn't he? Snipped it, and then it's skipping on the record. They did some very cool kills here, and it wasn't Michael, but I mean, if you didn't know the context and you just saw those kills, he's wearing a Myers mask. He kills like Michael kills. You wouldn't have thought any different unless you knew better. Same with Friday the 13th, part 5, right? Roy is basically Jason for all intents and purposes. If you didn't know better until you got to the end, and then you got duped. So Corey's out Michael Myersing, and he ends up somewhere along the way. I think this was well before this. Like I said, I'm all over the place. Laurie Strode catches him sleeping in the exact spot at the house where he killed that little kid, and like the blood stain was still on the floor and ingrained into the hardwood, and he's sleeping on that spot, and Laurie starts to sense the evil in this kid. So she's been trying to tell Allison to stay away from him, and Allison's like, no, fuck you, I'm running away with him, you don't understand. So him and Allison have not reunited yet since he's gone full Myers mode, but now he wants to go attack Laurie because he's out on a revenge kick. He's not killing indiscriminately. He's killing his bullies. Then he's killing these people that Allison worked with, the doctor and the nurse. and then he's killing, the DJ who was giving him shit earlier in the movie. And now we are to Laurie, where Laurie was against him and Allison being together. So he's going to try to knock her off. Laurie's in there. This is some of the scenes from the trailer. Laurie's in there faking her suicide. And then she gets into an attack, a fight, which doesn't last very long. I think she shoots Corey like immediately, doesn't she? She shoots Corey like in the chest. I think he catches one here, but he's still alive and he's still fighting with her. He still wants Allison. And here's another stupid line, if I can't have her, nobody will. And then he kills himself, which makes zero sense. If I can't have her, nobody will would be if he kills Allison, not himself. That's stupid. She can just be with somebody else, like right away, like tomorrow if she wanted to, tonight, that soon. That was a really stupid kill. And when he died, he stabbed himself in the neck. When he did that, it killed the entire movie because there were people, I was one of them. I was along for this ride. I was like, okay, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. You know what I mean? We're following the Corey train right now. Let's see where this leads us. And it leads us to nowhere. This is one of the big fatal flaws. They should have never killed Corey. Now, did they show his body? Could he have, because he's supernatural, could he have escaped? Perhaps, like he survived a fucking knife to the. And then Michael Myers came in. The real Michael Myers showed up and snaps his neck later, too, right? So he got shot, stabbed in the neck, and then neck broken. Yeah, he's pretty fucking dead. Which was just so stupid. It becomes the same thing that you did with Halloween 4 and Halloween 5. Halloween 4, you dabbled with the idea of Michael Myers is dead and he has passed this evil on to Jamie. And people were intrigued by that. That's why I think people were willing to go along with this story with Corey, because people kind of recognized that trope, even though it was only toyed with and then it was quickly reversed with Halloween 5. That's what I mean. They tease it, they toy with it, but they never follow through. They don't have the balls to pull the trigger. I think that was a lot of Malik Cod back then. Or no, maybe it was still, yeah, it was Mustafa Akkad. Malik is his son. Mustafa was no, we need Michael Myers. He just wanted Mike after the whole Halloween 3 fiasco. He needed Michael Myers and everything. So couldn't do that. But people were intrigued by Jamie, and I think that's why people were willing to take this ride with Corey. But you fucking killed Corey. So now it means nothing. This whole, did evil get past to Corey? I don't know, because we didn't get to see it. What'll happen from that? I don't know, because nothing becomes of it. And then what happened when he snapped the neck? Did the power go back to Michael fully? Michael, and he puts the mask back on, and now he's regained the power of the shape, the magic. Is that what we are to believe from all of this? What in was that the point of Michael, where everybody kind of thinks Michael was just using Corey the whole time? Was that the point? Like Corey can go out and kind of cause the chaos, and then Michael can come back and snatch the throne when he's he'll have the strength. The shape will get the strength through Corey, and then I don't fucking know. I'm trying to fill in the blanks right now. You know what I mean? And then Laurie has her famous final battle with Michael, slits his wrists. She somehow pins him to the fucking island in the kitchen, which is ridiculous, right? So convenient. And then she drops the refrigerator on him, which I actually thought was pretty smart. That works. But then she slits his wrists and then his throat. And I felt like that was a little anticlimactic. She ripped his mask off. You're just a man that's gonna take his last breath. Something like that. Pretty cheesy lineage going on there again. Cheesy writing. And then somewhere in there, Allison had shown back up because Michael had gotten one last choke. He actually ripped his hand free, showing that he did have the super strength again, right? Maybe, possibly. And he had like the weirdo, separated hand, like was it Jason that had that in one of the movies? He had the weirdo hand that happened to. Allison like stopped him from choking her and like ended up like, yeah, they were able to get that final neck slit in there, kill the Myers, and then she said he's not dead enough. We got to carry him to this back to this junkyard with the car crusher where it grinds up all the metal and stuff, one of those gimmicks. And they have this whole procession, the whole town follows it like a parade, which is kind of a callback to, I guess, Halloween Kills, where the whole town is involved in this shit, you know, which I never really liked from Halloween Kills, so I don't feel like that needed a callback. It could have just been Laurie and Allison, and maybe the not the grinder. Like, it was fine. It was a cool kill, but maybe they should have used Corey. Should have killed one of the bullies in that thing earlier, and maybe just something more epic for Michael. I don't know if that was. It was final. It was brutal. It was satisfying in the sense that it was brutal and final, but it wasn't epic. You know what I mean? It didn't have that, like, you expect like a big synth orchestra to fucking and they're fighting back and forth and it's like a big thing, and it just wasn't. You know what I mean? I'm okay with Laurie living, I suppose, because she died in Halloween Resurrection, though she did get the win in H2O. But overall, I mean, I feel like, you know, the way that they ended it was, at least it was a finale, right? It was a final ending. So but it just lacked that epicness, I guess, is the best way I can say it. So let's kind of give my overall thoughts on this here. I really liked the idea. I liked the concept. I was along for the ride. I felt they absolutely killed it when they killed Corey. I feel like here's what I would have done. You know, I'm not going to rebook your whole movie for you, but do your trilogy that finishes it out between Laurie and Michael. You focus on Laurie and Michael, and you introduce Corey in this movie, and you maybe do some of the things that you do in this movie with Corey, where maybe they, you know, they touch at the end. Maybe Corey's in there with Allison. They come back, and Corey, the final fight is Michael, Laurie, Allison, and Corey. And Corey's helping out as the boyfriend, but because he's got that darkness in him, maybe Michael, they do the same thing they do in the cave, right? And right before Michael dies, he passes it to Corey. And maybe you end the movie with Corey killing somebody like you did in Halloween 4 with Jamie. At the end, you get the shock ending where she's covered in blood holding the knife. You know, maybe you know, you think everything's good, Michael's dead, blah blah blah, and then maybe somebody, you know, maybe Allison or somebody gets killed. Yeah, it would have to be Allison, wouldn't it? You kill Allison with the Michael Myers mask because Laurie kept it, right? She kept the mask. Corey's over making out with fucking Allison, puts the mask on, kills Allison, and you get your final ending of this with fucking Michael is dead and Corey is wearing the Myers mask, and he is going to possibly continue. And you could do his movie in that next one, or maybe Michael lives through Halloween ends. Maybe Michael lives through this one, and in a fourth movie, you do this whole thing. You know, you do this whole entire movie basically, minus the Laurie Strode parts, but you do the whole Corey Michael dynamic where Michael's basically dead on his last legs after his brutal battle with Laurie Strode. He's barely alive, barely survived, and he transfers it on to Corey, and Corey, you know, however you want to do it, it should have been in like the next movie is what I'm getting at. And I think if you would have introduced the idea of it here and then carried it over to a whole nother movie, but made this one just basically focus on Michael, focus on Laurie, give us the most epic, over the top, satisfying, couldn't have done it better, ran it by test audiences, asked all my cousins, everybody thinks that yes, this is the perfect way to end Laurie versus Michael, then go do the Corey thing. Nobody, like, by then we'll be in a 14th Halloween movie. We're, like I said, this was the 13th Halloween. It's okay to try. They don't all have to be guy with white mask kills girls. You know what I mean? And girl wins at the end. It doesn't have to always be that. You can play around. But I just think because everybody, you pitched this as the final battle between Laurie and Michael, and that's what everybody tuned in to see. That's what they wanted, and people were not ready for this to be the Corey show. But if you would have, people didn't even know who Corey was. But had you teased it in the last movie, or you teased it in this movie and then did it in the next movie, either way, I think you could have got away with this. As long as people knew what they were getting into. People came into this knowing, okay, there's this Corey character who something's up with this guy. Either we got that in Halloween Kills going into Halloween Ends, or we just go do a fourth movie in this series here with Corey, and you can do that whole dynamic there, and people will probably be more than welcome to give it a try. So ultimately, that's where they bombed. Points for trying. Absolutely respect it. And like I said, I actually kind of liked, appreciated, and was along for the ride with what they were trying to do. And I like the idea of evil transferring. It's never really been fully done. Like I said, it was teased in Halloween 4 with Jamie Lloyd, but they never went through with it. And now here they played around with it, but they didn't give you anything. It's kind of all left up to interpretation. And in the end, it never really mattered anyway, because both of them are fucking dead and fuck it. You know what I mean? But to play around with the idea of evil transferring, oh, that's so fucking great. And how is the evil cause? Is it an entity? Is the shape something like an entity, or is it the town itself breeds this evil by how they treat each other, or how they're always looking for a boogeyman, or just there's so much stuff there to dig your teeth into. And not only that, but this movie's just fascinating, and it has got the internet talking. And that's another great thing with this movie. It was a shitty end to a trilogy. Let's face it, a horrible end to a very not satisfying end to the trilogy, built around Michael versus Laurie, the final stand. But as a movie in the series overall, as one in 13 movies, it's kind of fascinating to look at one of those 13th movies and go, oh, they played around with some fun shit in that movie. And I think, like Halloween 3, this is a movie that will take many years in new reboots and sequels and other movies for this one to kind of get lost and buried and forgotten to time, for this one to come back around and people to kind of give it fresh eyes and actually appreciate it more. There's still shit that they're not going to like, and they're still going to think it's a crappy trilogy overall. But as a standalone, let me watch this Halloween out of the 13 Halloweens. What flavor of Halloween? You know what I mean? Because they don't all need to be chocolate and vanilla. White guy in white mask stabs girls, chases girls, stabs them. That's what we want. We want that on Halloween night. Just give us that. Out of 13 movies, you have plenty of that. Like when you look at it as a catalog, when you look at this as a trilogy, they fucked it up. When you look at they didn't stick the landing, when you look at as a catalog of 13 separate movies, this one's a fun one that's gonna be talked about for a long, 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 long fucking time. And maybe that's what they were going for. Maybe this was the ultimate troll job. Maybe that was the intention all along, was to not just troll LOL, but like, hey, we're really gonna flip this on our head, on its head. We're gonna give you something special. We're gonna give you something to talk about, something to think about, something you might not like, but 30, 40 years from now, people are going to be talking about this movie, what it did, how people reacted. This is a big one in the history. And this leads me to my final thought on all of this before I let you go here. There's been talks about Halloween being done as an anthology. Like this would have been a good anthology entry, but it wasn't, a good Halloween entry, Halloween Prime. Like Halloween 3 was, they wanted to go the anthology route. Now that Halloween has been around for 40 years as a franchise, and there's been so many different takes on it, not just the different reboots and series and runs, but also like even movie to movie with the different writers and directors and studios and everything. Like every one of these movies is something different, and in their own series is something different to its own. The zombie series, the BlumHouse series, the original Dr. Loomis series, all of these things, Halloween 3 and the anomaly that is, and now this one. The entire Halloween series as a whole has kind of become an anthology. Over 40 years, we have the simplest of things: guy in white mask kills babysitter. We have that 13 different ways, and we've explored a lot of wild shit within those. We got cults, we got shape being passed, evil being passed, niece telekinetic. We got all kinds of shit. Runes. We got Ant-Man. Like, I think as a whole, I think on its own and as a trilogy, there's reason to be salty about this. But as a whole, in the entire anthology of Halloween, I think we got something really special, and we're very, very lucky to have everything that we have from Halloween 1 up through like Halloween 6, and then the producers cut a Halloween 6. We got two different Halloween 6s. You know what I mean? And like even like the webcam one and fucking Resurrection, we got Busta Rhymes, and we got fucking webcams, and we got so much shit. We got two different versions of old Laurie Strode versus Michael Myers, like the H2O version, and then the 2018. Like, man, what a fucking franchise. And we're gonna get more, if not in the BlumHouse series with like Corey or something like that. But somewhere along the way, someone will reboot, remake, revitalize, continue. So, pick up where they left. And maybe somebody's going to pick up, instead of, this one was a direct sequel to 2018 and forgot all the other, to the original and forgot all the others. What if somebody wanted to pick up from Halloween 4, where Jamie Lloyd killed the fucking, and then pick up from, like, you never know where they won't, but evil never dies. Michael Myers will never die. He's an icon. You might need a little time off right now. And especially, look, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. These movies have been out of the public eye for over 10 years now. It's time for those to come back and them to have their crazy runs and them to get hated on by fans and overanalyzed and reviewed. And then 10, 12 years from now, we can revisit another Halloween. And that's the joy that we have as fans. So I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope you enjoyed my take on it and my thoughts. Let me know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you have anything you can build off of what I said? Anything you want to add to, take away, counter, leave it? Let's have a conversation in the comments, is what the fuck I'm saying, yo. Other than that, that's it. That's all I got for you. Peace, love, and pizza. I am your boy, Seth Grimes, and we will catch you in the next review.